One of the stories, Matty, coming into this game was Caleb Evans' second straight start as a member of the Montreal Alouettes, filling in for Cody Fajardo, but more of an emotional link going to the stadium that he used to call home. And the first half didn't really work out very well for him, but he certainly made amends in the second half.
He certainly did, and he learned a lot of things from the week before's victory over Saskatchewan, throwing the ball only 13 times. He was cut loose a little bit more. Kind of caught up to him in the first half a few times, where he made some poor decisions and Ottawa capitalized. And this is right before the half. I'm not going to hold this one against him because he's trying to make something happen, go to the house with maybe a big play. But Caleb Evans, certainly in the second half, turned it around. He went to Snead for a couple of touchdowns, and why not? Because everybody needs a little LF, right? A little fast guy, and they found one in Snead. And then the last play, well, I was asking for a Salarand of some sort, get the edge, and he stepped out of the tire and found the corner and beat a player to the end zone. And that's a storybook finish for a football team that moves to 6-3, Rod.
Not the first time Caleb Evans has been victorious at TD Place, but this time with the visiting team. Here he is with Matthew Shinetti.
Caleb, I just watched the receiving line of your players come in and congratulate you. After that first half, it might not have felt that way. What happened in the locker room? What were the conversations like?
I mean, we always preach, it's 2 halves of football, you know? You get 60 minutes, 30 in the first, 30 in the second. So we just preach, second half team, second half, let's go. We didn't have our best drive, we didn't have our best start. At the beginning, we just kept pushing, kept driving, kept sticking together, and you see the result.
I know the culture that Jason Moss is building, but to see your Snelf connect with Snead and Mac, and then Mayala big at the end. Take us through that Mayala throw, what you guys were talking about in the huddle, what that play was.
That was improvisation. I didn't hear the play call, I just said what I just made a play up, and then I rolled out, saw him open, hit him, he had his hand up, made a play for me.
I think you and I have talked about this before when you've had late wins on the other side for Ottawa. What does this one mean to you?
Big time, big time.
Appreciate this.
Yes, sir, thank you.
15 of 20 for 235 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, no picks in the second half when it really mattered. Hey, Matty, at the half, asked Jason Moss about changing quarterbacks, and you could tell by Moss's reaction he's not changing anything. He's sticking with him. But, you know, the culture that Jason Moss is trying to instill, Matthew referred to that as well. And you can see a difference being made here with the Montreal Alouettes.
You really can, and they're overcoming some adversity and learning on the fly. The addition of even Sean Lemon to that lineup in the locker room, being a voice and leading by example, I think has been outstanding. And they're making a lot of right moves. Winning close games certainly brings the team together and verifies the hard work and the thought process of incrementally just getting better and winning the moment and winning the day and taking it 1 week at a time. We hear that all over the Canadian Football League, but it's the truth, and that's the way you have to approach things. And, Rod, it's just it's taking effect and taking hold in Montreal right now, and they moved to 6-3 at the halfway point and put themselves in a real good situation and distance themselves from this football team and certainly the Hamilton Tiger Cats. And so big-time win on the road. They moved to 7-1 on the road, and biggest stretch and best stretch for this football team in the last 20 years on the road. And outstanding job by Jason Moss, his coaching staff, and certainly those players on the field making it happen.
And here is Matthew now with the Montreal Alouette head coach.
Coach, I was talking to Major General Malstead during the game. He was talking about culture, and he was assessing leadership qualities in your team. What did you learn about your team tonight?
Character. I mean, I learned that we don't give up, and that there's a T in tough for toughness that we talk about a lot in our locker room. Mentally tough and physically tough, and that game personified it for us. You know, we talked about playing a great 30 minutes coming out of that locker room. It started off great and finished great, and you know, couldn't be more proud of those guys. We talk about leaders in our locker room. We got a lot of leaders, everyone in that locker room. So they do it the right way. They stick together. They play for one another. They play for someone other than themselves. And we represent Quebec and represent Montreal and the 425. And we're very excited about the win.
I gave you a bit of a leading question about your quarterback at halftime, but you saw something out of Caleb Evans. What do you think you saw out of him tonight?
Toughness, just what I talked about. I mean, he can play in this league. I think he's proven that. But he's got a lot of moxie, a lot of toughness in him. And when the chips are down, he didn't panic at all. Just played within himself, played within the offense, made plays when they had to be made when it was, you know, not there. made throws, made runs, and one hell of a run at the end to lead us to a victory. So couldn't be prouder of him to be ready when called upon, and just great.
You have a couple of games coming up against the best teams in this league now. You're 6-3, second in the East. How do you want to prepare for the tough games coming up?
Well, I'll tell you this, we don't care about the tough games, we care about one coming up, and that's how we approach it. So what we can't wait for is to get on that bus, go home, rest up, and get to work again, because that's what this team's about. It's about working. They believe in each other, but they love going to work every day, and that's why I believe in them. And so we'll get back to work, and that's really what the first step of playing against another opponent, and that's the one we look forward to the most, is competing against each other.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
That tough game, singular, is against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. That is next Thursday at IG Field in the second meeting of the season for Montreal and Winnipeg, and it'll be on short rest for the Alouettes. As for the Redblacks, an even bigger game looming now as they take on the Elks in Edmonton.